World Event Wednesday, I'm Shali Webb, your Pathway to Empowerment coach. Today we will be discussing the sexual abuse death of the 7-year-old Heaven, the little girl from Ethiopia, which happened over a year ago. The public outcry is moving throughout the world at this time as the man who was accused and also convicted of this crime is seeking an appeal and in hopes of getting a lighter or reduced sentence. And that has been put off until the month of October, and here we are in October. This is a horrendous act that he committed upon this child. And when you think about like the death of this little girl and how heartrending it must be, not only just for her family, but for the village that she lives in. And now it's actually reverberating throughout not only her community, but throughout the world. And it will have an impact on her family and her community for decades, as it's changed the dynamics of each of the families involved for generations to come, whether it's her family or the family of the man who actually committed this crime. So when you think about how it has altered the mental health of all involved, it's astronomical. But let's just take a look at the mother of this child and the grief she has for this child and the fear that she has for her other children and the fear for her whole family, as she has stated that her family doesn't feel safe. The family has not been able to grieve really, as there have been threats to the mother from the man that has committed this crime. She has had to change jobs. She had to change homes because the man who killed her child was actually her landlord. And not only that, but she hasn't been able to meet her basic needs because of having to move, losing her job, grieving the loss of her child and the brutality against children has been horrendous for this mother. And she hasn't been able to even really have any help because the husband was incarcerated at the time. And so it really is something that I really want us to take a look at. The brutality against children who suffer from sexual abuse is very, very hard to talk about, and it pulls at our emotions. And we want to hide. We don't want to deal with it. We don't want to talk about it. We want to not look at it in-depthly. So that's why we're going to have a more in-depth look at this tomorrow on my YouTube channel, Pathway to Empowerment, so that we can look deeper at what this may mean long-term, not only for this family, but for us as a nation when we have these types of things that happen. Now you have to remember that most often the statistics of sexual abuse are self-reported. So we have to really take a look at the numbers of what that looks like and know that it is a very small portion of what actually occurs. And most of the research that we have comes from the United States, where, again, very small portion. We're not even looking at it globally and what that looks like for the world and how abused and neglected our children can be and the statistics of child sexual abuse. We need to work together to help our children. We need to help them be able to be safe and to grow in safety. So join me tomorrow for a more in-depth look at this situation with Heaven, who was, I think she was 7 years old when this happened, and the horrendous, just unspeakable acts that have happened to her, and not only now to her, but to her family, and the grieving process and the mental health challenges that they will all have to face. And and then to look and have a different view of what it might look like to be a family member of this man that was accused and actually sent to prison for this crime. What might it be like to be one of the family members and be judged for an act that your family member created? So let's take a deeper look. We will hopefully find a way we can help and make it a little bit better society and a better outcome for our children in the world. Join me tomorrow.